Iran on there and send me a request, but it wouldn't let Sean Whalen. There we go. Hey, we're live. Hey,
what's going on, guys? We're live.
We are live. There we go. All right. Well, I want to welcome everybody back to the Real Talk with Real Estate Investors show today. And boy, do we have a special guest for y'all. He is the hardcore closer himself, 4-time best-selling author, a host of the Rewire podcast with over 1 million downloads, has hundreds of thousands of followers, the leader of the Apex Entourage mastermind, creator of the GCode, speaker and against the force of average man. There's not a whole lot he hasn't done. So I just want to welcome Mr. Ryan Stewman to the show today. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Man, I got more notches in my bedpost than Johnny Sins, baby.
Y'all
don't pretend like y'all don't know who that is, damn it.
Man, I just really want to say thanks for coming on the show today. This is a real treat for, I know, myself and Pedro. I've been following you myself for years now, and of course been in the Apex group for a couple of years now. And I can honestly say that this show and this meeting and everything that's happening right here is because of the things that you taught us, the power moves that you taught us with, going out and building your group, building your audience, starting a podcast and taking action with all this and pulling up the seats, to the table where you can talk, where I can chat with folks like you as opposed to, watching from the sidelines. So, man, I know me and Pedro are super grateful, and so is our audience for coming on today. So again, thanks again, man.
Yeah, man, we make power moves. That's what we're doing. That's what this is.
That's right. That's right, brother. Well, hey, man, we'll kind of go right into it, man. I know that you're super successful. You've made a lot of money. You've done a lot of things. But, man, I know it hasn't always been easy. I know that you went through a lot of shit, to get to this point. So, man, tell us a little bit about how the Hardcore Closer came about.
Well, man, one of the things that is my biggest goal for this year is to not be known by that name anymore. I know I didn't tell you all that before this, but like that's really, I'm listening to Kevin Hart, who's one of my idols, and he's talking about when he started, his name was 𝗥𝗲 the Bastard, and he didn't go into this. I'll go into it in a second, but somebody asked him, his mentor David Tell asked him, he said, who that is super wealthy and famous that has a nickname, and he named like Earthquake and a few other people, Cedric the Entertainer, and he goes, yeah, but they're not super famous. They're and at the time when this was going on, they definitely weren't super famous. He said the top comedians are Sam Kinison, George Carlin, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock. They all have their real name, and I created this hardcore closer persona because, my life sucked for a long time. It wasn't I've lived a life of ups and downs on money, but, man, adoption, divorce, incarceration, you name it, I fucked it up. And so I created, when I first got online, I created this persona that would allow me to have this bravado to be this hardcore closer guy. And actually, I created the domain and the brand, and I didn't think people would start calling me that. I didn't ever plan on being like the hardcore closer. But, I embraced the shit because it worked for a long time. But now I feel like I don't need to protect Ryan Stewman anymore. You know what I mean? I've earned my stripes as Ryan Stewman to just be who the fuck I'm supposed to be on this planet. So, but with that being said, my life's been a life of struggle. There's going to be people watching this that are going to hear some of the stuff that I say today, and they're going to have excuses. They're going to say, well, he's white, or he's, in Dallas, and it's different in Ohio, and it's different for my skin color, ethnicity, or, well, he's smart, which I assure you I'm not. And all these other things, man. And I just want you guys to listen to what I'm saying today and believe it like gospel, because it is, because I don't say things that I haven't lived and haven't done. And wherever you're starting out in life, no matter who you are right now that's watching this live stream, no matter where you're starting out in life, I can promise you one thing: you ain't had it as hard as me. So when I tell you the things today and they ask me and stuff like that about how to overcome this or that and the other, it's not bullshit. Don't try to complicate it, because listen, complexity kills, simplicity sells, right? And so don't try to complicate it or any of that other stuff, man. I'm just going to give it to you straight, and you need to believe it, because if it worked for me, it will definitely work for you. So I appreciate you guys having me on.
Right. That's right.
That's great, man. And you always Trevor mentioned at the beginning about the power moves. I know that is something that you teach us in Apex, and it is part of the idea that nothing happens overnight. Like, this shit takes time, and you have to take the time to build your empire. So why don't you talk to us a little bit more about the power moves and what that exactly means for the people that is listening? Because there's a lot of people in this group that needs to know the foundation of building a business.
Well, the first thing I like, that's a good way to start, man. I appreciate that, Pedro. The first thing that I want to tell you guys that you have to understand in business is the days of going viral don't fucking exist anymore, right? The days of overnight success don't fucking exist anymore. Okay, so you guys got to get used to doing the work despite the efforts. Okay, so I just recorded my 836th podcast, right? The reason why I know that's because I counted them all this week because I thought, damn, I got a whole bunch. I wonder how many there are. And so I went back and I started counting the episodes from my Blog Talk radio show back in 2011 till 2013. And I noticed that there's still 5 or 6 shows on there that ain't even got a damn listen. Still, fucking 10 years later, ain't even got a listen. What if I'd have quit? Right? What if I'd have been like, oh shit, man, ain't nobody listening to me. Nobody loves me. What a waste of fucking time. But no, I did the work despite. And so that's what I call a power move. You know, many of you are out there forcing things to happen. We'll talk about power versus force, which is a big concept that I believe in. Many of you are out there forcing things to happen. You know, let's just take it in sales, right? In sales, first of all, you're knocking doors, you're cold calling people, you're forcing people to deal with you that wouldn't normally deal with you. Now, while that's effective, it's not efficient, right? And you're taking the chance that you can catch a complete stranger's attention and talk them into giving you some sort of compensation, right? Same thing. Many of you are out there talking to the opposite sex with your stupid ass pickup lines and shit like that, and you're trying to force somebody to like you. You put your best foot forward and all this other stuff. The way that I've found that works on this planet, the best way is to align yourself making power moves, such as the podcast, right? That's a power move. Now I've got 835 personal episodes out there that people can find every day. You know, 8 years ago, nobody was listening to my shit. Right now, I'm on 2 million phones. He said 1 million. I'm on 2 million different people's phones that listen to my stuff. Man. And it takes time, right? Like, the most powerful thing that I can think of besides maybe God, and we can't really put an assignment on God. We don't know what he looks like or she looks like or feels like or touch like. We can't see it. We can see the sun. And the sun powers the entire universe, right? It powers our planet. When we ain't got sun on this planet, me and you ain't got energy anymore. We're dead. It's over with. It's gone, right? And the thing about the sun is it took 6.3 billion years to become that powerful. So for a human being to think that they can become powerful in 1 year or 1 day or 1 month or 1 week is just complete foolishness. And see, power moves are things that you make not only in business, but we'll talk about the business side first. But power moves are things that you make that don't pay you dividends today. But as my friend and mentor, 𝗥𝗲 says, the work you do today may not pay you for 6 months, 6 years, or even 60 years from now. But if you don't do the work today, you'll never get that payoff. Had I not practiced those podcasts, that thank God they sucked ass. So thank God nobody listened to them. I wouldn't be the guy that can deliver a badass podcast today. The way that Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, the way that they, everybody but Shaquille O'Neal, the way that they all got good at shooting free throws was practice. And the reason why I say it about Shaq is he was always terrible at free throws. But the way that they got good at free throws is they practice every single day. They didn't just like one day, they just got it. You know what I mean? Like, they practice that shit every day. They made power moves and they stack up. The same thing in the gym, right? Like, when you go in the gym, you can't go and do a set of bench press and expect to have like pecs like Steve Weatherford. It's not going to happen, man. It's power moves that you make every single day, every single week, that in a period of time you look up and you're in great shape, right? And so too many people are focused on the result that they want right now, but the result that you're getting right now is the results of the work that you did back then. And you have to understand that. So power moves in business are podcasts, blogging, getting people to get PR about you, creating a sales funnel and running traffic to it, writing blog posts, making YouTube videos, all the things that most people are scared to death to do. And by the way, the result that you fear is rarely the result that appears in your life. The thing that you're scared of is rarely the thing that actually happens. You know, I was riding four-wheelers with my son not too long ago, and he was scared to go up this hill on his four-wheeler, right? And I'm not raising bitches, so I made him go up the damn hill, but it took a little while, and he was scared shitless to do it. And when he got to the top, he said, man, that was awesome. Can we do it again? And I said, dude, you were just scared to death. And you see how when you just face your fears, how good it feels, right? Some of y'all are scared to do podcasts. You're scared to write. You're scared to make a video. You're scared to do those things. But like, even though nobody listened to my stuff, I still, to this day, nobody's ever told me your podcast sucks ass, Stewman. I know it did. And it's okay. I get it. But nobody's ever told me that, right? That's the biggest fear that we have, is that something's going to suck. But the truth is, like, that's rarely what happens, man. People appreciate that you step out of your comfort zone and did something that they can't do. When you start writing Facebook posts, people, especially consistently, people say, man, you know what? This guy's telling his life story and telling an experience that he has with no shame. I wish I could be like that. And then all of a sudden you become an authority. And so while many of you are out there trying to get immediate results by doing cold calls, this, that, and the other, the key is doing some sort of power move that's going to live on forever. When you hang up the phone of that cold call, guess what never happens again? Nothing. That's gone. That's the last of it. But guess what? This video will live on for the entire time that this Facebook group exists. My podcast will live on for the entire time in the cloud that iTunes allows us to. And the same thing, like, in your dating world, right? If you want to make power moves in the dating world, become the most elite version of yourself that attracts people to you. You see, one thing, you guys are both clients of mine. I've never slid in your DM and told you to buy stuff from me. Matter of fact, the way that we got connected is you had to have opted into something that I've done or reached out to us for anybody on my team to even reach out to you, right? That's called being the most attractive character that you can for the people that you want to attract. It works in relationships. It works in business. It works all across the board. You know, power moves in your health, or going to the gym and going through doctors to get the right treatment and everything else. Power moves in your family and the group of people that you're around is like making a list of VIP people that you want to be friends with. 2 years ago, I told my wife at the end of 2018, I said 2019 is the year that the influencers start coming my way. Right. And she said, well, how are you going to do that? I said, I'm just going to make a list of the influencers that I want to be aligned with. And I'm going to do my best to go out of the way to create that relationship. And I know some of y'all are saying, well, you have a blue check. I just barely got the damn thing. So it's not like I had this blue check since day one. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not an athlete. That happened because of the contribution and because of the power moves that I've made. But I look up today, and Byron Jones of the Dallas Cowboys just texted me. Steve Weatherford, who's Super Bowl champion with the Giants and played for the Patriots too, he just texted me today. Ken Shamrock's a friend of mine. Dan Fleischman, Andy Frisella, Ed Milet. These are people that I set out to make power moves to create those relationships with, and now I have relationships with them. When I hop on my private jet, not my private jet, but a private jet that I chartered to go to Cabo here in a couple weeks, I have a Super Bowl champion on there. I'll have Mr. Universe on there. I'll have 10 nine-figure freaking per year producers on there, because I set out and got focused on making power moves to attract the right people in my life. So the same thing goes for your customers. Many of y'all are on Facebook or social media and you're talking shit about the president or the other presidential candidates, or how your situation sucks. Or there was a lady that I noticed this week that she posted 4 times in the Sales Talk group over a course of 4 different days. And every time it was complaining about, you know, oh man, salespeople don't get this, or what do you do when salespeople say that the leads are shitty that you're providing for them? Like, lady, dude, like you're showing people that you're not competent in what you're doing. You're showing people that you're a complainer, and you're showing people that you're a gossiper, not that you're a problem solver, not that you're a leader, not that you're someone who's willing to step out and make sure that people are happy with your services. You're actually showing all of us not to fucking buy from you, which is the worst thing that you can do, you know?
That's right. That's absolutely right.
I leaned in there. Just leaned in a little bit.
Drop the mic.
I was going to say, man, you know, you're exactly right. And you know, to kind of piggyback and take this into a little bit of another scenario, we've got a lot of folks here listening on the group. You know what I'm saying? They all aspire to flip real estate, whether that be through wholesaling or, you know, actually buying and holding with rentals or flipping or whatever the case may be. But one of the things that we talk about on every episode is, you know, a lot of these folks are fearful of taking action. They're scared of you know, where things, you know, could go, how they're going to screw up or whatever. they all want it. And really, I think it boils down to the force of average, trying to bring them down to everybody else and preventing them from taking the actions that they need to take. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about what the force of average is and how folks can work towards overcoming that?
Yeah. So first thing first, my favorite quote of all time is, you have to act your way into a feeling because you will never feel your way into action. If you wait until you feel like you're ready, if you wait until you feel like you've done all your work, if you wait until things feel right, guess what? Shit don't ever feel right. The thing that you're scared of today, if you don't face it, you'll be scared of it tomorrow. And so the enemy of fear is action. Right. So just like my son, when he drove up that ramp on his four-wheeler, up that hill on his four-wheeler, like, guess what? Fear dissipated, right? The enemy of fear was beaten by the action that he took. And so, you know, most people, I see seminars, I'm friends with guys like Sean Whalen and 𝗔𝗲𝗧 that you guys have had on here. They're good friends of mine. Matter of fact, I talk to Kent every week at 5 o'clock. We have a weekly standing meeting where we spend about 15 minutes together. And one of the things that they always say towards the real estate community is like, man, these people want it really bad, but they won't do shit. And they're paralyzed with fear. And the key is there ain't nothing to it but to do it. You know, like if you sit around and live in a state of fear, then the results that you want aren't going to appear. That's just how it is, right? And so that's a distraction, which is the main weapon from something I call the force of average. It's trademark, but feel free to use it when you teach people lessons. And if you think about this planet as like a computer simulation, that's what Elon Musk says that it is. And it may not be, fuck, none of us have proof one way or another yet, you know, but let's just say that anytime that there is anything created, there's got to be a governance around it. So like when you have a video game, there's got to be boundaries, borders, and things that you can and can't do, right? When you create a business, there's got to be boundaries, borders, and things that you can and cannot do. This world is no different than that. There is Newton's law, which is for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And so that is basically the outline of the force of average. For you guys, it might be having a good month and then having a shitty month. It might be finding the woman of your dreams and then fucking her fat friend and her breaking up with you, right? Like that's the shit that we do. And the things that happen to us, right? We get what we want, and then for some reason we self-sabotage it. You know, we attain the thing that we've worked our entire life for, and somehow it messes up. We know lottery winners that have won hundreds of millions of dollars and went broke. We know NFL and NBA athletes that have gotten tens of millions of dollars and then went broke shortly after. And that's the force of average. And the force of average just has one simple weapon, and it's a very effective weapon. It's distraction. It's there to distract you. It gives you 30,000. The world gives you 30,000 decisions to make every day. Should I put glasses on? Should I use AirPods? Should I wear this watch, this shirt, these pants, drive this car, live in this house, marry this woman, raise these kids? Do I make a left? Do I make a right? Do I eat this? We have 30,000 decisions that we make, a lot of them unconsciously every single day. And at the same time, we have 4,000 of those decisions every day are advertisements, man. The force of average is on us constantly to distract us. Matter of fact, we become who we are between the eight and how we think for the rest of our lives between the ages of 3 and 7. Now, after the age of 7, which we could consider someone who is 7 years old very immature, right? They're not a wise, learned person. They're obviously still a fucking kid. And so but yet that's how the habit and the thinking patterns are shaped for us. By the time that we turn 8, we have abstract reasoning based on what we learned from ages 3 to 7. Okay. And so most people live their entire life thinking like a fucking 7-year-old. The only way that you change your thinking is if you have a divorce, incarceration, a health scare, a near-death experience, bankruptcy, you lose a business. It has to be some life-slapping, life-altering thing that happens in order for us to change our thinking. Well, fortunately / unfortunately for me, I've had all that shit and more happen to me. So I've had to rethink my thinking a hell of a lot of times to where I shaped it to do this. Well, what I found is that if the force of average has one weapon, and that's to distract us, right? We have a good month and the distraction is, oh shit, I made 20 grand this month, right? I don't got to work next month. That's the distraction, right? And so what I've learned is that focus is a human superpower. And focus, if the force of average had a lightsaber and it was Darth Vader, and it had a lightsaber, that lightsaber would be distraction. If I was Luke Skywalker and I had, and I had a lightsaber, that lightsaber would be focus, and we could battle it out, and my focus will beat that fucking distraction every single time. The problem is between the ages of 3 and 7 is when our parents and kids and teachers start telling us you got ADD, you can't focus in class, you can't pay attention, you're not going to grow up to be shit. That's not how things work. Stop talking, stop acting this way. And it's constantly breaking you down at a young age, which is, you know, if I was the force of average and I was coming at you with a weapon, I would attack you when you're most vulnerable, which is a young age too. So it totally makes sense of how that would work out. But here's the thing. If you start getting focused, then that's a superpower, and you can literally have everything. I'm living proof of that. But most people say, well, how the fuck do I get focused? I need some Adderall. Do I need some modafinil? Like what? You don't need drugs. You don't need anything. You need to figure out what you want to focus on. And what I've come up with is something called the G-Code, the code to be the greatest version of yourself on this planet. Because if the planet is coded with an algorithm called the force of average, us human beings need to be coded with an algorithm called the G-Code. And it stands for 4 different parts that all start with a G, because I'm a marketing genius. Number 1 is a grateful mindset, right? Because if you're not happy for what you have now, when you get more of it, you'll only be more miserable. We hear all the time people say money doesn't buy you happiness. It's true. Their happiness is not for sale. You know, happiness is not for sale. Happiness is something that starts internally. So you might think a Lamborghini is going to make you happy and you get enough money to buy a Lamborghini, and turns out that wasn't. If you rely on external things for your internal satisfaction, you'll never be satisfied, right? So the first thing starts with being grateful for where you are. Be grateful for the lesson that you learned from the loss. Be grateful for the struggle. Be grateful for the failure. Be grateful for the people around you. Be grateful for the things that you do have right now, because listen, the fact that you're watching this video puts you so far ahead of everybody else, because there's people starving in other countries that are drinking water out of mud puddles, living in huts that you and I wouldn't even spend a damn night in. They've spent their entire lives there, right? So you have to think about that first. So you have to have this grateful mindset. The second thing is you got to work on your genetics, right? You can make all the money in the world, because see, most people define themselves on money. And here's the thing. If you define yourself by money when you don't have it, then what? Right? If all your relationships, all your social economic status, if everything you believe in is because you're rich, listen, life is full of ups and downs for entrepreneurs. Shit, Bill Gates has faced bankruptcy a few times. Jeff Bezos just lost $72 billion, right? Life is full of fucking ups and downs. And if you think that you can only define yourself by your success in business, you're missing 75% of the other part of success, right? Success isn't just money in business. Success is having the right mindset, with that grateful mindset. Success is having a good body, right? Having genetics. And I'm not talking about you have to have a 6-pack abs or you know, chests that look like Aquaman or any of that shit, but you need to be making sure that you the 2 parts of genetics are diet and exercise. You need to make sure that you have a good diet that's not constantly junk food, right? That's how you get diabetes. That's how you end up having cancer. That's how you end up not being able to play with your kids. You die at a young age, shit like that, right? The second part is making sure you exercise. Like Drewby, my vice president, he doesn't go to the gym, but he rides his bike every morning. You know, Danny, he doesn't go to the gym, but he walks every morning, right? Doing some sort of exercise. First of all, we have so much stress, pressure, and anxiety inside of us. If we don't release and exercise that demon somewhere, it will manifest into something that you don't want. Right. The third thing is your grind. That's your business, right? That's 25% of the equation is the money making part of that equation. And the grind breaks down to the businesses you own, the customers that you have, and your employees and referral partners. That's what consists of the grind. So you focus on those things. So focus on being grateful, 5 things that you're grateful for every day. Focus on your genetics, diet, exercise every day. Focus on your grind, the companies you own, the clients and referral partners you have, and your employees. And the last part, which is the most important part, is the group of people that you're around, right? Your friends, your family, your mentors, your employees, your referral partners, the people, your pastors, all the people that you spend time with is the group of people. Listen, if I'm not selling drugs, but I'm hanging out with the Mexican mafia and they get arrested, whether I sold drugs or not, guess who's going to freaking prison with the Mexican mafia? Me, even though I didn't have anything to do with their operation. If I'm hanging around with them, then I'm guilty by association. We've all heard that. At the same time, if I'm hanging around elite ass people that are millionaires, 100 millionaires and billionaires, then guess what? Then I'm going to be lifted up to their level. That's how you adjust that thinking deal. And a lot of you say, well, how the hell do I become friends with elite people? You put in the effort. right? Change starts within. You start becoming the most elite version of yourself, because guess what? Winners attract winners like a magnet. But on the flip side of that, losers attract losers like a magnet too. So you have to be aware of who you're magnetizing and attracting towards yourself. But if you break it down every single day, you write 5 things you're grateful for, you hit the gym, stick to a diet, you go to work and focus on the things that I talk about, and you make sure that you go on a date night once a week with your wife, you go on a date once a week with your kids, you entertain your friends for dinner and drinks once a month, you reach out and you support your employees and the people that are around you, you make sure that you're talking to your mentor once a week or once a month, you break that shit down on a daily basis, then you have something to actually focus on, because everybody knows what focus is, but very few people actually know what to focus on. And that's what the G Code does. It teaches you that if you focus on these 4 areas, not weekly, not monthly, not annually, but daily and almost hourly, then guess what happens? All of a sudden you start taking steps towards becoming the most elite version of yourself by cutting the head off of Darth Vader and his force of average lightsaber.
That's very powerful, man. And I can be witness of what the G Code can do for your life. I've been living the G Code for over a year, and it's definitely have changed my life. And
same here for me. You know, it's changed mine too.
At the beginning, you were talking a little bit about removing that image of the hardcore closer, and I'm sure that the new Ryan Stewman is attached to the G Code, and that's why you're using right now to impact others. Can you talk to us a little bit more about the G Code?
Yeah. So, you know, one of the reasons I came up with it is early on in my career, I was like a sales and marketing coach. That's what I taught people: how to generate leads from social media, how to build sales funnels before they were cool, how to make power moves, how to close people with inbound lead conversations. And that's what I taught people. I had a client die from a heart attack because he didn't take care of his health. I had another client that I made, and I helped this guy make hundreds of thousands additional dollars per year in his business. I had another guy that I made a millionaire in about 6 months, and he blew all of it on cocaine, ended up getting divorced, can't even see his kids anymore. I just kept thinking, man, I keep trying to solve these people's problems with money. And I keep like giving more money, but money is a magnifier, man. If you're a piece of shit when you're broke, man, you're going to be a bigger piece of shit when you're rich, right? And so I thought, man, everything rises and falls on leadership. So as a leader, I take extreme ownership, right? So I'm like, that's my fault that guy died because I didn't teach him to work out. I only taught him business. That's my fault that dude got addicted to cocaine and lost his marriage and everything else because I didn't teach him how to beat addiction and have the right mindset, right? So I thought, here I am helping people with what I thought was the most important part of their lives, which is money, when in reality, that's the least important part. And it's only 25 of 100% equation. So it's only 25% of the equation. Think if you're only running on 25% of your capacity, you're not running anywhere near capacity. Matter of fact, you're running extremely below average capacity, right? And so I had to come up with, okay, so what are the other areas that are going to matter to these people when it comes to success? Not just success in money, but successful relationships, successful health reports from your doctor, successful and happy mindsets. And so I came up with this concept to help people focus on becoming the most elite version of themselves, because, you know, it's one thing to become a rich version of yourself, but when you're rich, ripped, wealthy in relationships and have a healthy mindset, there is no stopping you. There, like, people ask me all the time, they say, Stewman, what would happen if you lost it all? Who the fuck is going to take it from me? Come on, whenever you're ready, come get me, force of average. I ain't scared of shit. You know what I mean? It's not going to be taken from me because I know what to focus on a daily basis.
That's right.
That's awesome.
And so where do folks find out more about the G Code, and how do they get signed up for that, and how do they become a part of that?
Well, so this is cool. This is the coolest thing. This is my contribution back to the world, man. I've made millions of dollars and live a life way beyond I ever expected, not just monetarily, but the relationships, the family, the friends, the business, the mindset. Hell, I'm at 40 years old and I'm in the best shape of my life, you know, and so my life is way more than I could have ever imagined growing up in the hood as a poor white trash kid, right? And so I give this back. So when I tell you this is free, and I also want you to know that there's no gimmicks. There's no emails that are going to come. There's no upsells that are going to come. My team is not going to call you. We're not going to try to sell you shit. All I'm trying to do is give you something, and you have to take the action. But all I'm going to do is give you something that will help you make a daily step towards becoming the greatest version of yourself. But when I say it's free, there is literally no fucking gimmicks and nothing for sale when it comes to this. So I don't want you guys to show up and go, well, there's something, oh, they want to, you know, it's just another thing for him to make create money. Now, this is my gift to the world. I think it's more powerful than that. So you can go to GCode, which, by the way, I own the trademark for that too, but, you know, feel free, more than happy to use it as well. But rule number one, if you're going to own a business, you need to own assets inside of it, and trademarks and patents are assets. So it's GCode.𝗀𝗏sites.com. And I know some of you are like, what kind of fucking URL is that? Well, it's a subliminal advertisement because I own a company called Phone Sites that creates websites. So it's GCode.𝗀𝗏sites.com. And that's what we call the 0 to 100 challenge. I've gamified this whole process. If there's 4 areas of life that you have to focus on daily, then you get 1 point per each 4 area, which means 4 points a day in 25 days. You should have 100 if you're right on track, right? And so we call it the 0 to 100 challenge, because in 21 days you create a habit. In 60 days, you create an unbreakable habit. So what phase 1 is to get you to get 100 points on the board in the GCode app. It's completely free, like I said, and it's GCode.𝗀𝗏sites.com. Then once you do that, phase 2 is 500, right? We're going to keep you that way for 5 or 6 more months. Then phase 3 is 1,000, which means you've gone an entire year living by this. If you go an entire year and hit 1,000 points and you look back on your life, you won't believe you used to be the motherfucker you used to be. You won't understand how you used to live at such a low producing, low focused lifestyle. And you won't even recognize the person. Like when my memories come up on Facebook every day, I don't even recognize the person that posted that shit. I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking when I did that? Because I've leveled up so much now. I'm 812 days into this, right? So it's not something that I invented a month ago and I'm like, oh, hey, you know, this is work for me. I lived this shit for over 2 years before I even brought it out to the public this month. But it's 0 to 100 challenge, completely free. All the rules and everything are at GCode.𝗀𝗏sites.com. Guys, plug in. And the best part is when you hit 100, if you follow the rules and you hit 100 within your 30 days, we give you 30 days in case you get a 2 or a 3 a couple times. So we give you a little mulligan. But as long as you have a straight 30-day streak, then I offer free coaching. We give out hats like what you're wearing, the FYE hat. We give out t-shirts, swag, books, all this stuff, because we want to encourage people to live and be the best version of themselves. Cost me a fucking arm and a leg to build the software. Cost me an arm and a leg to be able to run the traffic to it. It cost me an arm and a leg to give away the amount of swag, because we got like 2,000 fucking people that just finished it this month. But I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to invest in y'all, the people, in order to help you invest in yourself to become the greatest version of yourself. So
that's awesome.
I get a little fired up. You know what I'm saying? I get a little bit fired up about this shit.
Do you still have your Evernote journal for the GCode? I still have 286 notes in there before you launched the app. So yeah, I still have that stuff.
I do, man.
It's amazing.
And even when I invented the app, it still took me about 2 months to get off of Evernote because I had that habit. Matter of fact, Thomas Keenan, who y'all both know is one of our coaches at 𝗏𝗏 Academy, he just told me, like, he's like, all right, this month I'm finally going to switch from Evernote, because he had basically the app inside of his Evernote. But I can see right here, I did 542 daily wins, which is what we called it back then. 542 daily wins. So that's 542 days before I switched over to actually using the app once we built it. So, I mean, like I said, I've been at this shit for a minute. And right now on my app, I think I have been at it for 200 days. So that would put me at 742, 196 days. So 738 days that I've been at this. So the number I spit out, I wasn't far off from originally.
That's
man,
awesome.
That's so cool, man. That's so badass.
It is life changing, you know. And
no doubt.
You were talking right now about the GCode and all that stuff. You mentioned books. Talk to us about the new book that is coming. That I know you've been preaching that a lot. How it's going to change the world. How it's going to change people's life. Maybe you can give us a little.
Yeah, I spent most of my 20s either. I call it the 3 Ps. I was either in the penitentiary, on probation, or on parole, right? I spent from 21 to 31 in those 3 settings. Like, there was no free time. Like, I was in and out of prison, on and off parole, on and off probation. And the thing is, you know, I read a lot of religious books when I was locked up. And nothing against religious books, but they're confusing as fuck, right? That's why people don't read the Bible or the Quran or the Torah or the Book of Mormon, because they're like, what the fuck does this shit mean, right? But I took the time to study it and figure it out. And I wrote what I would consider a religious book. And I don't mean religion as in like I'm God or Jesus. I'm not trying to play that game, but religion's simple. It's Latin word for reliving. It's reliving the same thing over and over again, right? It's a way of life. And so I wrote what I would consider a religious book that you can live your life by. It's a simple 300-page manuscript that breaks down what it takes to truly be the greatest version of yourself. And so this book, the GCode, will, I mean, like we're putting the fight, like it's going to be ready to order within the next 2 days for our people to keep here and read it and see that it's all right and everything else, to get our proofs basically. But I expect it to be out in the next 10 days. And here's the great thing, man. You guys probably think I'm full of shit. Not you two, because you know me, but the people listening probably think I'm full of shit. You're like, well, if he's giving all this shit away for free, where the fuck does he get his money from? Don't worry about that, damn it. I got myself covered. But I'm going to give this book away for free. And now what I'm saying when I say free is not some free plus shipping, Russell Brunson funnel hacker bullshit. What I'm saying is I'm going to put it on Amazon, and whatever the fuck Amazon charges me to print it, that's what you'll get it for. So if Amazon charges me $3.50 to print this book, guess what you'll be paying? $3.50. By Amazon's rules, I got to charge $1 extra in case there's chargebacks or shipbacks or whatever the case may be. At the end of the year, when Amazon cuts me a check for the overages, I'll donate it to charity. I'm truly doing this as a way to give back. And here's what I understand. There's going to be people that read this that transform their lives, that want to go live at the apex of their life. They're going to want my mentoring. They're going to want to be a part of a group of people that are on the same mission as them. When you surround yourself with lions, right, and you surround yourself with the pride of lions, a pride is a big word for a reason. When you surround yourself with a pride of lions, everybody fears you, including the force of average, because they know you're unstoppable. Your competition fears you. Your enemies fear you. Your haters fear you. The people who want to see you fail fear you. The world fears you, and not necessarily from a like you're a mean person standpoint, but they know you're not one to be fucked with because your focus is there. So I've taken all these world religions, broke them down into 4 parts, and told the story of why they're so, like, because I know some of y'all need to know the why and the how before you will actually go do it. And so that book breaks it down in the most simplest form ever. Matter of fact, we have given this book to several kids that are in the 1st and 2nd grade. I'm sorry, the 2nd and 3rd grade, and told them to read it so that they could give us feedback. And the questions that they asked, we dumbed it down so that everybody can understand it, from your kids to your grandparents to smart people and everybody in between. So there's no confusion whatsoever, because again, like confusion stalls people, right? When you're confused and things are complex, that's why people don't know whether they're living for the Lord or right when they're Christians or when they're Muslims, because there's lots of confusions in those books. There's a lot of complexity. And so what I've done is I understand that keeping it simple sells, right? Not just in the sales world, but to sell yourself into taking action. And so I have simplified some of the hardest things to understand on this planet so that you can go, oh shit, that makes sense. Now I'm going to do it. Just like with my son climbing up that hill. Oh, that makes sense. Just don't let off the gas till I get up there. I'll do it, Dad. It's going to be the same exact. I didn't tell him, look, you have to hit the gas, pop the clutch, hit the brakes on the way up. I didn't tell him, no, it's like, just stay on the gas to get all the way up. You can understand that, right? Yep. Don't lay off the gas to get to the top. It's the same way with this book. It's simple instructions that anybody can follow no matter their age.
Man,
I can't wait to read it.
I can't either, man. I can't either. That's exciting.
Make sure to let us know so we can stop by Break Free Academy and pick up our
That's
copy.
right.
Yeah, for sure.
On my way. I
Yeah,
want to say thanks again for coming on today. I know that your time is limited, so we appreciate you taking some time out of your day to join us and bringing the fire and giving us all the words of wisdom to not just us, but our audience as well. And me and Pedro know that this shit works. We've been a part of this for a couple of years now, and part of this movement. It's changed my life for the good. I tell people every day, the difference that it's made, and people can I don't have to just tell them, they see it.
Right. That's the big thing about the G-Code, man. You got to talk about it. As long as you be about it, people see the difference,
That's right. And so my goal here is to just pay it forward and as much as I can. And that's one of the things that we try to do with this show. Is there anything that you would like to leave our group with? Any advice, any tips, anything that you feel like, might be useful, that they can run with?
Yeah, besides the book and the free app, you can go over to hardcorecloser.com. There's like about 3,000 blog posts from everything from mindset, marketing, sales, and more. So they just use the search bar there, ask a question, what you're looking for. The the stuff that'll pop up there. I mean, I've been building that site since 2012 daily on a consistent basis. I've got 500 episodes of Rewire, 200 episodes of the Hardcore Closer podcast, a couple 1,000 blog posts. I mean, everything that you could possibly want to know is there. And here's the cool part. If there's something that you can't find on there or something that's not on there that you think's a good topic that I should write about, talk about, or make a video about, shoot me a DM and let me know. And if I haven't already done it, if I've already done it, I'll shoot you a link. Now, don't you dare slide in my DM and ask me to go Google shit for you. You go over there and if you can honestly find it, then I'll help you out. But on the flip side, if you've got good ideas and stuff, just slide in my DM and let me know, and I can address that as well. So
that's awesome.
Right, where they can find you if they want to learn more about Apex and maybe join the Sales Talk with Sales Pro group too, where you put a lot of content.
All that's at hardcorecloser.com. Like everything you can put for all my social media, all my groups, all my offers. You get my swag, hats, join my programs, buy my products. It's all over there at hardcorecloser.com.
Sweet. Well, thanks again for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. We have been looking forward to this for a couple months now. So, man, we're just excited to have had you on as a guest, man. We hope to maybe have you on one day again, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for having me on, fellas. Hey, listen, folks watching, don't fuck around. Go to GCode.phonesites.com, sign up, take the challenge, and you will look back 6 months and not recognize yourself in 12 months and won't believe that you used to be the person that you were. I promise you, you're looking at 3 people right now who have lived that in their entire lives. And you can scroll back through all 3 of our Facebook profiles over the years and see clear as a bell how we've leveled up and changed. The same thing will happen for you. I'm out, gentlemen. Later.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Ron.
Later, man. Thank you guys for watching. That's what's great.